I'm Karen Romano, and this is my story. About 3 years ago, I was pregnant with a baby we were really excited about. I took a home pregnancy test, and my husband and I together anxiously watched as the little line appeared. And when it did, we were extremely happy. I didn't think anything was going to be going wrong with the baby at all. The doctor said everything is fine, except the heart hasn't started beating yet. And then when I went in the following week for my follow-up, there was fetal demise. The baby was the fetus was no longer viable, it had died. It was hard to tell my husband because I knew he'd be really sad. He really wanted the baby, and so did I, and we were both sad. I explained to him I was a 39-year-old mother suffering a miscarriage, and I wanted to know why he wasn't filling the prescription. And finally, he admitted that he wanted to know what I was going to be using the misoprostol for, because if I was going to be using it to terminate a pregnancy, he was not going to dispense it. However, he added very quickly that since he approved of my reasons for using the misoprostol, he would therefore make it available to me. I was just devastated. I couldn't believe that a pharmacist could prevent me from getting medication I needed based on his own personal beliefs. After this happened to me, I did a little bit of research, and I found out that this was actually happening all over the country. Hospitals were in fact refusing to give emergency contraception to rape victims. Women were being refused their contraception, and I just couldn't believe it. I was definitely not an activist type. I always exercised my right to vote, and I care about knowing what's going on, but I'm not somebody who speaks out about things, especially about things that are so personal. I just felt that I couldn't possibly turn my back and not say anything. The duty to dispense pill ensures that patients will in fact receive the prescriptions that they need, that pharmacists have to fill these prescriptions if they can. It's very pro-patient, it's very pro-doctor, and it's something that I'm very proud of having been a part of.
I'm Faith Pennock, and this is my story. The beauty of being an independent filmmaker is that I get to tell stories on my terms and tell them in the way that I feel they should be told. Silent Choices is a documentary film about abortion and its impact on the lives of African American women. The reason I called it Silent Choices is because there is a silence about abortion in the African American community. Even if we know women, relatives, friends, loved ones who have had abortions, we just don't broach the subject. I made the film to open up the dialogue. Abortion is a silent issue within the African American community for several reasons. I think one is because of the impact of religion in our communities. Another issue is the morality issue. There's a term that a lot of African Americans use about not wanting to air our dirty laundry. We don't want people to look at us as the stereotype that we've tried for so long to fight about, African Americans being hypersexual, being overtly promiscuous. And I think trying to deal with the issue of abortion doesn't fit into that paradigm of holding ourselves up as strong, positive African American role models. I want Silent Choices to break down the barriers around this issue, to really get people talking and to create a real dialogue around abortion and reproductive rights. And I'm hoping through that the shame will dissipate. Silent Choices took me 6 years to finish. I was determined to finish this film because I knew the film was important. I knew the film was needed in our community. It kept me going, just knowing that it would play a positive role in many people's lives. That's what you just have to do as a filmmaker. You just have to keep going. You just, no pun intended, you have to go on faith.
I'm Tina Briscoe, and this is my story. I was 31. I had just gotten laid off from my job. I was single, broke up with my boyfriend, then I discovered that I was pregnant. I just saw a sign on the side of the road that said a free pregnancy test. I go in the back, take the pregnancy test, and then I go into this other little room to wait for my results. Then this doctor plops in a tape and said, I want you to review a tape. So at this time, I'm thinking the tape that you want me to review, because I'm here to take a free pregnancy test, would be a tape on childbearing or child rearing and prenatal information. And all along, it was a tape on a physician performing an abortion. I was frightened, I was scared. And the doctor, as we were ready to leave, said, if you do this, you'll be murdering your baby and you will be killing your child. And at that time, I was so scared and I felt really alone. I knew what my decision was, but I was not going to let them know. It was my choice. I made my mind up that I was having this baby with no health insurance, no job. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I was going to do it. And I wasn't going to give that clinic the satisfaction of knowing that that was my choice that I made. One day while just sitting at my computer, here comes an email asking for stories on choice. So I responded with my story to be used for Cancer Alert. I feel honored to tell my story. I don't want any other woman to feel as traumatized as I was, belittled as I was. And I always want them to know that there's always hope and there's always choice.
I think there is a misconception out there that the right to choose is not relevant to a lot of women, but I beg to differ with that.
It's your daughter, it's your mother, it's your sister, it's your cousin, it's your best friend, it could be you.
A right to choose, I believe, has to do with just the right to be responsible for yourself and your body and your own actions.
I wish more women would speak out. There are so many other women who experience the same thing that I have.
It's really important for men and women to make their voices heard on reproductive rights. We need to make it clear to everyone that we're not going to let others make choices when it comes to our bodies and our reproductive freedom.
I highly encourage anybody who cares about this issue to become involved. It takes as little as a couple of minutes, a couple of times a week to be a rapid responder. And it feels really good to feel like you're somehow getting your voice out there, and it matters.